Okay, thank you. So welcome to class number 4. So today I'd like to share a story with you. Is from Jack Ma. So can you please type in the chat box if you know who is Jack Ma? So type in the chat box if you know who is Jack Ma. I'd like to make sure. Okay. So Shubho said he's the owner of Alibaba. Okay, got it. Anybody else? Any clue who is Jack Ma? Type in the chat box very quickly. Very quickly. Who is Jack Ma? Right. So we will. Okay, owner of Alibaba. That's right. 100%. Thank you. Thanks for responding. So one day he was asked by a journalist that you're top of the business world. So can you please tell us why? Okay, this is the stat, right? You got to understand, and it's going to be relevant with you as well. So most of the business owners who start their business in the first year, they fail. 80% of the business owners, they fail in the first year. And 95% business owners, they fail in 5 years' time. And only the 5% business owners, so they grow. I repeat, 80% of the business owners, they fail in first year. 95% of the business owners, they fail in 5 years' time. And only the 5% business owners, so they are existed and they are becoming growing, right? So that's the stat. So journalists ask Jack Ma, so why is happening right now in the world? Why 80% people fail in the business in the first year? Then Jack Ma said that is very, very important, right? So he says that just think about you are a shop owner. So you open the business for the first day and you wait for the customer. And second day, you open the business and you wait for the customer. Third day, you open the business and you wait for the customer. And during the last time, you shut down the door, shut down your business and you leave, right? And third day in the evening, so customers are coming and they're looking for the stores. They'd like to buy something from you. That's happening in the world. So now, I totally agree with Jack Ma. Just think about this. So more than 100 students we have started. So first day is gone, second day is gone, third day is gone, and fourth day we are around 30 people, right? So that's why 80% of the business owners, how they fail in the first year, this is happening to the students as well, right? So most of the students, I would say, after 3 days, they will go away. Right. However, so if you think you are the one of the 5% and you will succeed in the long run, please type in the chat box 5%. I'd like to see how many of you think that, okay, you are not the 80%, you are not the 95%, you are the 5%, and you will do whatever it takes. Right. Yeah. Quickly type in the chat box if you think you are the 5%. Okay. Excellent. Thanks for responding. Congratulations. So you got to have that sort of mindset, right? Still, can you remember? So psychology and mechanism. So psychology has to be 80% and 20% is mechanism. So if you have got top mindset, anyway, you're going to achieve whatever you want to achieve. So now I'd like to ask you, still, let me check if you can remember. So to be a successful in your life, you got to have 2 things. Number 1 is psychology. Number 2 is mechanism or strategy. Can you please type in chat box? What's the percentage? Still, if you can remember. Still, if you can remember, type in the chat box. What's the percentage? Okay, Tanim said 80% plus 20% equal to 100%. That's right. Type in the chat box quickly. I'd like to see how many of you still can remember what would be the percentage. Psychology and strategy equal success. Quickly. Okay. Okay, excellent. Thanks for responding. So yeah, that's the reality. And I don't blame the students. Probably they might have a lot of tasks to do. Probably they are working. Probably they have got some sort of exams. I understand, right? But that's the reality. You got to understand as well. So now I'd like to share with you another strategy that's gonna be very helpful in your life. So can you please type in the chat box repetition? So repetition is from repeat, right? Repetition is the mother of all skills. Repetition is the mother of all skills. Type in the chat box. Repetition is the mother of all skills. R-E-P-E-A-T-I-O-N. Repetition is the mother of all skills. Type in the chat box very quickly. Then I'd like to show you something. Then we're gonna jump into the revision. Then we're gonna jump into the new class. So repetition is the mother of all skills, right? Type in the chat box very quickly. This is very, very important strategy. You got to understand. Repetition is the mother of all skills. Right. So I do understand that there are few students, they haven't got the time. Probably they jump into different things, and that's why probably they are doing some sort of thing. So it's still what they do, they are very clever. They come back to the recorded class and they watch it. And you might ask a question, okay, sir, how do you know that? And I'd like to share with you how I know it, right? So if I just share my screen, can you see? So this is the YouTube channel, and this is the first class, right? Okay, got it. This is the first class. Can you please type in the chat box how many people watched it? Type in the chat box. How many people watched it? You see? How many people watched it? Type in the chat box quickly. I'd like to see if you can see it. How many? Yeah, type in the chat box how many people watched it. That means there are a lot of students, they missed it, but they went back to the recorded class and they still kept watching, right? So 416 views, that means 416 people, they watched it, right? So I appreciate them because they haven't got managed their time this time, and they went back to the recorded class and they watched it and they have done their homework. Congratulations. So probably naturally they understand that repetition is the mother of all skills. And also I know some of the students, they enjoyed the class with me, and after having the class, then still they thought, well, it's better, I mean, if I go to the revision class. So they watched it time and again, time and again, time and again. And that's why they are getting a lot of help from the recorded class, right? So that's why I must say repetition is the mother of all skills, right? So now I'm gonna ask you, how many of you enjoy the recorded class as well? I know you join the class, you practice with me, and after, whenever you get time, so you go back to the recorded class and you watch it. Type in the chat box, how many of you have watched the recorded class? Please type in the chat box, recorded. I'd like to see how many of you have watched the recorded class as well. Type in the chat box very quickly. Okay. Excellent. So repetition is the mother of all skills. So all you got to do, you got to do the repetition, right? So all you got to do, you got to do the repetition. So in a research, it shows that when you do something for the first time, you achieve 25%. Once you go for the second time, you achieve more than 50%. Once you go for the third time, you achieve more than 75%. So I would recommend you, please watch the recorded video as well. Go to the class, recorded one, and watch it. Probably you don't have to watch, I mean, every second. You can just, you know, go a bit faster, and you can watch the important things, and you can do some sort of things, and you can come back, right? So repetition is the mother of all skills. So that's why you see what I do personally. So when I come to the class, I do the repetition. I start from the first class, what you have learned, then second class, then third class, then we jump into the new class. This is how we enjoy the class, because I know repetition is the mother of all skills. So if I do the repetition, so you're gonna learn a lot, right? So now would like to see what we have learned in the last few classes, right? So as you know, repetition is the mother of all skills. So what I'm going to do, I will go to the first class where we have practiced, and then we're going to go to the second class, and then we're going to go to the third class, then we're going to jump into the new class, right? So this was the first class, and what I'm going to do, I will okay, I'll share my screen again, and I would like to remind you what we have learned in the first class. So can you see the screen? If you can see, please type in the chat box, I see. I'd like to see how many of you can see the screen. Quickly type in the chat box. Okay, you got it. Thank you. So what I'm gonna do, I will just unmute yourself, and you need to give a presentation right now. So all together, we're gonna give a presentation, right? So please unmute yourself. 3, 2, 1, go. Let's start.
My name is Abdullah Safwan. I am from Khatagari, Chhattisgarh, Bangladesh. I am a resident of Bangladesh. I am a student.
I was a student of primary school in 2008.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. So then we practiced in the second class is what do you do every day, right? So I'm gonna take to that page so that we can do one more time practice. Then we'll go to the third class. So this was the first class. What do you do every day? Again, I'm gonna unmute yourself. All you got to do, you need to give a presentation. Can you remember how to do a presentation? You need to say, hi, my name is Habib. Today I'd like to share with you what I do every day. I usually get up early in the morning around 7 o'clock. Then I brush my teeth, right? So are you ready? If you're ready, please type in the chat box ready. Who'd like to give a presentation together? If you're ready, please type in the chat box ready, R-E-A-D-Y. Okay. You got to be very quick. You got to play full, right? Okay, excellent. Thank you. I'm so sorry. I came to the class 4 or 5 minutes late because I got to run once I finished the class. I got an appointment, right? So that's why I'm right. I got ready. Once I finish the class, I'm gonna drive down for my appointment. So thank you. Thanks for responding. So now, please unmute yourself. 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey,
I am Abdullah Safwan.
I would like to share
I
about
get
my
up early in the
usually I get up early in the morning, then brush teeth, make breakfast, and have a cup of tea. Get ready for
then I
office,
come back
and
home.
start taking brush,
Then
have
I
coffee, get
get my
working, and
breakfast.
talking with my colleagues. And noon, I have
Lunch,
lunch, take bath, have lunch, and take rest. After again, take off
salad,
go to tea stall and have a cup of tea. Then at 6:30, I take a bath in the dormitory, and sometimes
family, take some snack. That I go to tuition.
8 is class
Then
7.
after that, I listen book,
Get some family members, take some snacks, help
and
cook,
sleep.
and then
Go
get
back.
dinner. Sometimes read books. And I finish.
Thank you. So then in the third class, we have learned what does your favorite person do every day, right? So can you please type in the chat box, how many of you have done your presentation and you uploaded on the Facebook group? Please type in the chat box homework. I'd like to see. If you have done your homework, please type in the chat box homework, right? Please type in the chat box homework. So instruction is very, very important, right? So if I instruct you to do something, please do that. So if you have done your homework, the third one, please type in the chat box homework. I'd like to see how many of you are really serious. Now you know the stats, right? So 80% people anyway, they're gonna fail probably in 3, 4, 5 classes. You will see they don't do the homework, they don't come to the class. According to the Jack Ma, if you just compare the business, is happening to the students' life as well. 80% of the students, they're gonna fail in 3, 4 classes, right? And 95% of the students, they're gonna stick to the end, and only the 5% student, they're gonna be existed and they're gonna survive, they're gonna thrive. So I know who are doing the homework and all that stuff, you're counting as a 5%, top 5%. And anyway, you're going to achieve whatever you want to achieve in your life. So now this is the third homework. You have practiced a lot. So what I'm going to do, I'll again unmute yourself and you need to give a presentation, right? So please do that. So unmute yourself. 3, 2, 1, go. Let's start. Hi everyone.
Hi everyone, I'm Rita, and I would like to share about my favorite person. My
Some
favorite
do
person
every
is my
day.
mom. She gets up early at in morning and then brushes teeth, makes breakfast.
Make
Sometimes
breakfast,
at
the
at
cup of
noon,
tea,
and she gets
office,
ready to cook
office
breakfast for
start
us.
working.
She sometimes she helps my younger brother to go to school, and at the
Some
lunch
rest.
he have
Leave
lunch.
office
Sometimes he takes rest
at
at
home,
afternoon, and then at 5 she
just
makes dinner for us.
watch TV,
Sometimes he
family,
reads some book.
take
uh,
care, read,
he watches some cooking videos, which is he implements for
family,
us. And
sleep,
evening he
get to bed.
gets together with family. Sometimes he takes snacks, and at evening he cooks dinner for us, and he takes dinner. Sometimes he
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. Thanks a lot. So now, who is ready to give a presentation? Please raise your hand. Who is ready to give a presentation? So what does your favorite person do every day? Please turn on your video and just wave your hand. I'd like to see how many of you are really ready to give a presentation. What does, okay, so Tanim Doctor, can you please admit yourself and give a presentation?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for providing me an opportunity. And hello, everyone. My name is Tanim Dutta Choudhury, and today I'd like to talk about my favorite person. That is, she is my mother. And now I'm starting my discussion about my mother. In morning time, my mother gets up early, so early and very early at 6 a.m. And after that, she goes for a walk. However, when she returns home, she brushes her teeth and clean the house. And afterwards, she take a bath. Consistently, my mother fills water in a big jar while in a rush she make breakfast and tea for all of us. Behind with this, she serve breakfast and tea in the dining table for our all family members. And following that, she wash clothes. As usually, she prepare lunch at 1 p.m. And after that, she watch television and call all of our family members to take our lunch. And then she serve it in the dining table, and afterwards she's also supportive to all of us, that is our family members. And after finishing our lunch, she takes some rest for a while to relieve of working all day long. In the evening time, she spends some time in her garden. She already have her own garden, and after coming from her garden in home, she make tea for all of us when served with this tea with biscuits. And later on, she takes some part in the gossiping with me and all of us of our family members. And nearly at 9 p.m., she go to kitchen to prepare our dinner. And after around at nearly 10:30 p.m. she served it in the table for eating our dinner and for all of us. And above all, after finishing our dinner, she also take part to in this dinner, and then she goes to bed. This is all about my mother's daily routine. And homes also look good with moms. Mothers run the home with total responsibility, and I think that so may God grant longevity to all mothers. Thank you so much all for listening to my.
Thank you, Tanim. So can you please type in the chat box, how was the presentation? Is it okay, excellent, outstanding? Type in the chat box, I'd like to see. So Tanim, well done, very well done. Though you miss a few S sound, so keep practicing, right? So this is very, very important. And you know, repetition is the mother of all skills. So you got to do the repetition. Yeah, I'd like to see, type in the chat box, how was his presentation? Was it okay, excellent, or outstanding? Type in the chat box. Okay, got it. Thank you. Thanks for responding. Okay, so now I'd like to see I'd like to take another volunteer who'd like to give a presentation. Then we're gonna move forward. So all you got to do is you need to just wave your hand so that I can get you, and I'll unmute yourself, right? Who is next? Who is the next lucky person to give a presentation? So all you got to do is you need to turn your video on and you need to give a presentation. Who is that? Who is that? Is there anyone else who has got courage to give a presentation right now? Right. Okay, so Rukul Mehta. So unmuting yourself. Yeah, give a presentation.
Assalamu alaikum to giving me a chance to say something about my favorite person. I want to share about my favorite person. My favorite person is my mom, and her name Muhammad Roxana Banu. She's about nearly 40 years old, and still she's looked really young, and she handled our whole family and whole family members. She get up early morning, as usually 6 at morning, and he work around half an hour for her physical health. He have diabetics, and that's why he every day morning works. And after back working, she makes breakfast for our family members. We are six member consist in our family. So sometimes we are sorry for shortcomings. Sometimes she makes new things for us for breakfast, and after breakfast she helps my younger brother to goes to school, and then she prepared lunch for us, for my family members. And after making that, she prepare herself for Johor Sala, and then we are having lunch together, and then she sometimes takes rest. And at evening we are she like to gossip with others, like my
Okay, thank you Mirda, thanks. I'm so sorry, we haven't got that much plenty time, so that's why I got to stop you. However, now someone said, Shubho said, maybe everyone feels shy to come in front of the camera. Now I'd like to share with you something very, very important. So why this is so important to come in front of the camera, right? I'm gonna give you 3 examples. Number 1, so if you're looking for a job, and let's say you're looking for a position, it might be sales manager. So what does sales manager does? Sales manager trains up his team, right? And he got to give a presentation. So all you got to do is you probably gonna have a small team of, like, say 5, 10 or 20 people, and you need to give a presentation with the PowerPoint and click here, right? So that's why if you do the presentation here, it's gonna help you a lot. That's the first thing. Second thing is social media, right? So once I say social media, what do you understand? Is Facebook, is YouTube, is Instagram, is TikTok, right? So these are the social medias, and probably you have connected with us through the social medias. And I think last 1 year, I have interviewed so many people to recruit for my company, for our company. And yeah, so the first question I asked them, so are you capable of going for a live on Facebook? And if they say yes, then I continue the interview. If they say no, I said, okay, thank you very much for coming for the interview. Unfortunately, we are not looking for anyone else who is very shy to the social media. So social media right now is a skill. Making video is a skill. Can you please type in the chat box? Making video is a skill. Type in the chat box. You got to understand it. So now there is no TV advertisement, there is no billboard advertisement. all the advertisement, I mean, who are the smart business owners, they put on social media. We have spent like hundreds of £1,000 on Facebook itself, right? Then we have got Google, we have got YouTube, we have got TikTok. We have spent money for the advertisement on those social media. And to make campaign, all we need is, especially we need making videos. So if you recruit someone else, and the first question I usually ask, are you afraid of social media? If they say yes, then just we take them out and we go for the next one. So making video is a skill. So I'm helping you to grow a skill, to improve a skill. This is called making video, right? So if you keep doing it, in the long run, you'll find that, okay, you are so confident, you can speak in front of the camera, you can speak in front of the, and this is another important thing. So how many of you think that grab the phone and hitting the light button and speaking in front of the camera is tough? If you think it's tough, please type in the chat box tough, T-O-U-G-H, right? So if you think grabbing the phone, clicking on the live video and talking, just looking at to the lens is really tough, type in the chat box tough. And I know, I understand this is tough, right? And that's why if you can master this skill, so you have got one skill. So probably in your CV, you can add that. So I am the social media personality. So if you need some sort of help with the social media, I can help you with, right? So that's the only thing. Now I'm gonna go to our lesson. And still, can you remember what is the mother of all skills? Please type in the chat box. What is the mother of all skills? Type in the chat box if you can remember. What is the mother of all skills? Type in the chat box. What is the mother of all skills? Just I shared it with you a minute or 2 minutes ago. What is the mother of all skills? That's right, Tarim, repetition. I'd like to see. So why I'm asking you the same question time and again? Because I'm repeating, right? So that you can get it. So repetition is the mother of all skills. So all you got to do is you need to do the repetition. So that's what we do time and again. The same presentation, I encourage you to do the same thing. Now, I'm gonna give you the medicine. Who is struggling for fluency? Type in the chat box fluency. If you think you are struggling to speak English fluently, right? So if you are having problem with fluency, please type in the chat box fluency. And right now, I'm gonna give you the medicine. If you take the medicine, if you use them, so you will overcome these sort of problems. Okay, so if you have got some sort of problems regarding the fluency, all you got to do is you need to give the two presentation what you have done in last two classes, right? Number one is what do you do every day, and number two is what does your favorite person do every day. Now, this is how you can practice, right? Some people, they say, I don't have any person to practice. So this is the recommendation for them. For example, for the second presentation, you can say the first time, my favorite person is mom, and then you can talk about your mom. And the second presentation, you can say my favorite person is my dad. You can talk about your dad. Then you can say my favorite person is my nanny. Then you can talk about your nanny, right? And the next you can say my favorite person is my brother. Then you can talk about your brother. Then you can say my favorite person is my brother-in-law. Then you can talk about your brother-in-law. So how many members in your family? Please type in the chat box. Is it 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Type in the chat box very quickly. Right. So who are struggling to practice with someone else? So this is how I need to practice. So Tanim, you can practice the second question 4 times, right? So Zahidul, you can practice 8 times. Oh my God. Parvin, you can practice 7 times. Mirda, you can practice 6 times literally. So all you got to do is you need to pick up one person and you need to keep going. Second person, keep going. Third person, keep going. So this is how you need to practice. And you know, repetition is the mother of all success, right? So do the repetition. And also in your leisure time, don't watch the bullshit, right? Go to the class and watch it time and again, time and again. So if you watch the second time, you're gonna master 50%. If you watch third time, you're gonna master 75%. So I would recommend you at least you need to watch this video 3 times. How many times? Please type in the chat box. How many times you got to watch the video? Type in the chat box, please. At least 3 times. Type in the chat box. At least 3 times. So now we're gonna go to our class. This is class number 4. Ooh, we are about to cross the middle of the class. However, I have confirmed Steve. He's gonna take a class on Monday same time. So if you follow me, please type in the chat box on Monday with Steve. On Monday with Steve. Yeah, type in the chat box on Monday with Steve. I'd like to see how many are following me. So who is excited to have a class with Steve? The class will be held on Monday. So please type in the chat box Monday with Steve. I'd like to see Monday with Steve. Yeah, that's right. Type in the chat box. So I would recommend you bring your friends who'd like to have a class with British native speaker, right? So if you have got some sort of friends who'd like to give a shot how the native speakers are taking the class, so you can bring them, you can share the link and tell them, please be present on time and you'll have a class with Steve, right? So yeah, that's right. So let's go and dive into the class. So this is the practice session we have done yesterday. So we said, okay, can you remember what's the first structure? Type in the chat box, subject plus verb. So what was the first structure? Subject plus verb. Please type in the chat box. That was structure number 1, subject plus verb. Yeah, type in the chat box. Subject plus verb. Yeah, that's right. And what is the second structure? Please type in the chat box. To make interrogative sentence, what's the structure? Do plus subject plus verb plus question mark. Please type in the chat box. For interrogative sentence, the structure is do plus subject plus verb plus question mark. Type in the chat box. Do plus subject plus verb 1 plus question mark. Yeah, that's right. So this is how we practice a lot. So now I need you to practice this, because if you are not good at practicing this, you cannot do very well in the next structure. So that's why I need you to practice, and you got to give me all the sentences using just one breath, right? So one breath. So please unmute yourself. 3, 2, 1, go. Let's start. Do I speak?
Do I speak?
Yeah. Does he speak? Thank you. Still, I feel you have got so much inertia. Do you know the meaning of inertia? Inertia maniki. Please type in the chat box. What do you mean by inertia? Please type in the chat box. Please type in the chat box. What do you mean by inertia? I think still you are having a lot of inertia. You shouldn't have, because you practiced a lot. And now, yeah, that's right, Praveen. That's right. So still you have got a lot of inertia. So I think we should practice a little bit more. So this is how I need to practice, right? Follow me. Then you got to do the same thing. So do I speak? Do you speak? Do you speak? Do you speak? Do they speak? Does he speak? Does she speak? Does he speak? Does Tony speak? So that's why you need to practice a lot, so that you can give me all the sentences using one breath. You got to remove your inertia. And how gonna remove it? By practicing a lot, right? So this is how you need to practice. So again, one more time, I'm gonna unmute yourself. Please unmute yourself. 3, 2, 1, go. Let's start.
Does she speak? Does she speak? Does Tony speak?
Thank you. Thanks a lot. So I need a volunteer. I'd like to test whether you can give me all the sentences using one breath or not. Amina Akhtar, can you please unmute yourself and give me all the sentences?
Do I speak? Do we speak? Do you speak? Do you speak? Do they speak? Do he speaks? Do she speaks? Do it speaks? Do Tony speaks?
Amina. So when you get he, she, it, Tony, you need to say, does he speak? Does she speak? Does it speak? Does Tony speak? Can you please try one more time?
Okay.
Do I speak?
Do I speak? Do we speak? Do you speak? Do you speak? Do they speak? Does he speak? Does she speaks? Does it speaks? Does it speak? Does Tony speak?
Excellent. Can you please type in the chat box? Thanks, Amina. I need another volunteer. So Monirujjaman, can you please unmute yourself and give me all the sentences using one breath?
Do I speak? Do we speak? Do you speak? Do you speak? Do they speak? Does he speak? Does she speak? Does it speak? Does Tony speak?
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. Can you please type in the chat box? Thanks, Monirujjaman. So I need another volunteer. Habibur Rahman, can you please unmute yourself and give me all the sentences?
Do I speak? Do you speak? Do you speak? Do you speak? Do they speak? Does he speak? Does she speak? Does it speak? Does Tony speak?
Habibur, how many breaths have you taken? Probably two. Yeah. So can you please give another try and give me all the sentences using one breath?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go.
Do I speak? Do you speak? Do you speak? Do you speak? Do they speak? Does he speak? Does she speak? Does it speak? Does Tony speak?
Excellent. Can you please type in the chat box? Thanks, Habibur Rahman. So now what I'm gonna do, we're gonna practice one more time. So this is the challenge, dear challengers. We got to give all the sentences using one breath, and there is no excuse, right? So please unmute yourself. 3, 2, 1, go.
Do I speak?
Do I speak? Do we speak? Do you speak?
Does it
Do
speak?
that? Does he speak? Does she speak? Does it speak? Does Tony speak?
Good, thank you. So how many breaths have you taken? Please type in the chat box. Is it 1 or 2? Please type in the chat box. How many breaths have you taken? Is it 1 or 2? Quickly type in the chat box. So if you are taking 2 breaths, you need to practice, right? You need to practice. You need to practice. Okay, so there is a proverb. It says, if you practice privately, you will be rewarded publicly. Please type in the chat box. If you practice privately, you will be rewarded publicly. Please type in the chat box. If you practice privately, you will be rewarded publicly. Type in the chat box. I'd like to see everyone else understand this, because if you understand it, you will do very well. So if you practice privately, you will be rewarded publicly. If you practice privately, you will be rewarded publicly. If you practice privately, you will be rewarded publicly. Excellent. Thank you. Everyone, can you please type in chat box? If you practice privately, you will be rewarded publicly. Now, I'd like to share a story. One of my students. So probably you don't know. So I used to teach in a renowned language center in Bangladesh for almost 2 years, right? So one day I entered into the class and I have seen like 30 students who are present over there. So I have seen one student, she was so shy, she was in the last bench, and the first class we practiced a lot. Then I invited one by one to come to in front of the desk and to give a presentation, and she was so shy, she was about to cry, something like this, right? So that was all about 24 classes. So at the end of the 24 classes, I found she's the best one who performed the best. And then I asked her, so what did you do? She said, sir, I was so shy. I was like insulted because I couldn't speak a pair of words, and the whole class saw me. I made a decision. I said, I'm going to practice a lot when I go home. And if you ask us to practice 5 times, I practice 10 times more, like 50 times. If you ask us to practice twice, I ask 20 times, right? And then she said, I think that is why I performed so well and I became the best. And we used to give some sort of gifts, and she was the first one who received the gift, right? So what she did, she practiced privately a lot, and that's why she was rewarded publicly. Did you understand? If you understand, so please type in the chat box understood. Please type in the chat box understood, right? Right. So another day, a journalist who asked a question to a basketball player, right, who is the renowned one in the USA, and the journalist asked him, so what's the mystery behind it, right? And he said, I don't practice 1,000 shots 1,000 times. I shot one shot 1,000 times, so that I master it such a way so that no one can beat me, right? So this is the thing you need to understand. So you got to practice privately a lot, and you'll be rewarded publicly. So I don't mind if you go to toilet, practice there. If you go to bathroom and take bath, practice there. If you are cycling, practice there. If you are in the bus, practice there, right? So practice everywhere else, wherever you are. So all you got to do, if you have got some sort of problems regarding the fluency, you got to practice. I'm going to give you 4 questions, right? I have given only 2 already. So one is, what do you do every day? And number 2 is, what does your favorite person do every day? So these are the 2 questions you got to practice. I'll give you 2 more. And if you practice these 4 questions for 30 days, you will not have any problem at all in fluency. I guarantee. If you practice 4 questions every day for 30 days, you will not have any problem at all for fluency. So now these are the 2 medicine. If you know what are the 2 medicine, please type in the chat box too. I'd like to see how many of you have already received the prescription of 2 drugs, right? So one is, what do you do every day? And number 2 is, what does your favorite person do every day? Please type in the chat box too if you think you have received the prescription and you know what are the 2 drugs you got to take, right? Excellent, excellent. So now welcome to today's class, right? So today's class is all about, type in the chat box still if you can remember. Today's class is all about deep questions. Type in the chat box if you understand deep question. So today's class is all about deep questions. Type in the chat box deep questions. All right. So deep question is, if you'd like to ask deep question, is nothing. It's very simple. All you got to do is you need to put a WS word behind the do, right? WS plus do plus subject plus verb. Can you please type in the chat box by structure? So third structure I'm gonna give you is WS plus do plus verb plus question mark. Type in the chat box. So this is the third structure I'm gonna give you. As I said you, so we're gonna stick to one structure, just we're gonna play with it. So first structure was subject plus verb. Second structure is do plus subject plus verb, and this is the third structure, WH plus do plus subject plus verb. Type in the chat box, please. WH plus do plus subject plus verb plus question mark. Yeah, that's right. Rukul Mida, thank you. So WH plus do plus subject plus verb plus question mark. I'd like to see everyone's comment. Please type in the chat box very quickly. WH plus do plus subject plus verb plus question mark. Yeah. Very quickly, please type in chat box. WH plus do plus subject plus verb plus question mark. Thank you, Jahidul. Thank you, Shubho. Thank you, Tanim. Thank you, Jamshed. Thank you, Imad. WH plus do plus subject plus verb plus question mark. Thank you, Ibrahim. Thank you, Mamun. So you got to follow this structure. If you don't follow, you are making mistakes. You don't understand? You got to follow this structure. If you don't follow, you are making wrong sentences. Did you get me? You got to follow this structure. If you'd like to make questions, you got to follow this structure. WH plus do plus subject plus verb plus question mark. If you don't follow, you are making mistakes. So this is so vital. That's why I'm emphasizing a lot on this structure. Now, I'm going to ask you questions. What do you mean by WS word? Please type in the chat box a few. WS word and maneki. Please type in the chat box. Give me some example of WS words. WS questions. Okay, so who, what, why, how, when, etc. Excellent, Shubho. Okay, type in the chat box if you know some of them. Yeah, that's right. So type in English, what, why, who, which, where. Excellent, excellent. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Type in the chat box very quickly. Here you go. This is the structure we're going to practice, right? So WS plus do plus subject plus verb plus question mark, right? So these are the structure you got to follow. So now we're going to practice a lot so that in 30 seconds you can make a structure in your mind and you can deliver it, right? So a lot of students, we found that they know how to make the sentence, but they cannot deliver. You know the reason? Because they don't practice it. They know how to do it. It's something like they're learning, but they are not implementing. That's why they are not achieving, right? So all you got to do is you need to learn, you need to apply, you need to achieve. So this is how we're going to practice. So let's say the first one is why. So why do I practice? It's the same sequence you need to follow, right? So we're going to practice a lot with why. So listen to me first, then I'm going to give you the opportunity to practice, right? So why do I practice? Why do we practice? Why do you practice? Why do you practice? Why do they practice? Why does he practice? Why does she practice? Why does it practice? Why does Tony practice? I repeat. Why do I practice? Why do we practice? Why do you practice? Why do you practice? Why do they practice? Why does he practice? So did you notice it? When I got he, so it's not do, it's does. Why does he practice? Why does she practice? Why does it practice? Why does Tony practice? Can you do that? Can you do that? If you can, please type in the chat box, I can. I'd like to see how many of you can give me all the sentences using one breath. If you can, please type in the chat box, yes, I can. All right, thank you. Thank you for responding. So now I'm gonna unmute yourself. All you got to do is you need to give me all the sentences using one breath. Are you ready? So please unmute yourself. 3, 2, 1, go.
Why do I speak? Why do I speak?
Why do you practice? Why do you practice? Why do you practice? Why do they
Why does
practice?
he speak?
Why does he practice? Why does he?
Does Tony speak?
Why does Tony practice?
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. So can you remember in the first class I have shared with you, the first class was all about the foundation, and we are building one floor at a time, right? So the first class was subject plus verb. It was very easy, right? So for example, I speak, we speak, you speak, you speak, they speak, he speaks, she speaks, it speaks, Tony speaks, right? And the second structure was a bit difficult because it was like a question. So do you speak? Do I speak? Do you speak? Do you speak? Do you speak? Do they speak? Does he speak? Does she speak? Does it speak? Does Tony speak? Now is another floor, right? So we are just building one floor at a time. So if you don't practice, if you don't deal with the first floor, foundation, you will be struggling. So that's why practice with me, right? So this time we're gonna give it a try. What are you gonna do? We're gonna make all the sentences using one breath. So how are you gonna do it? So again, so why do I practice? Why do you practice? Why do you practice? Why do you practice? Why do they practice? Why does he practice? Why does she practice? Why does it practice? Why does Tony practice? So this is how we're gonna practice, but make sure you are giving me all the sentences using one breath. Please unmute yourself. 3, 2, 1, go.
Why do I speak?
Why do you practice? Why do you practice? Why do you
Why
practice?
do you speak? Why do they
Why
speak?
do
She speak. Why does it speak? Why does Tony speak?
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. So Shubho, he asked a question. Sir, which sentence is correct? Why do you practicing or why are you practicing? Right? So he was asking me two questions, two sentences he has given me. So the first one is, why do you practicing? Why do you practicing? Is it right sentence or wrong sentence? Please type in the chat box, everyone else. Shubho, I'm not, don't take offense. So thank you for your questions. So I'm asking to the audience so that they can understand and we're going to learn together, right? So please type in the chat box. Why do you practicing? This is right sentence or wrong sentence? Okay. This is wrong sentence because you didn't follow the structure. Is verb one, right? Practice, not practicing. So why do you practice? So this would be the right sentence. Now he asking me the second question. Why are you practicing? Yeah, that's the right sentence because you are using continuous, right? We're gonna go that far, but just stick to it where we are right now because most of the time we are using present form, right? Not continuous. That's right. Okay, so why do you practice? If you don't follow this structure, you are making mistakes. This is very simple. So all you got to do, you need to practice this structure a lot of time. And you will see a lot of people, probably your friends, they're very good in speaking, very good, right? But when they're asking you questions, you will see they are not following this structure. That means they are making mistakes, right? So from now on, okay, don't, do the argument with them, right? From now on, you know, if they're making mistakes, you'll say, hey, my friend, thank you. Your speaking is very good. I appreciate that. But however, your sentence is wrong. You shouldn't say, why do you practicing? Or why do you practicing? You should say, why do you practice? Because this is the structure. Why, WSOR plus do plus subject plus verb one plus question mark, right? So this is how you know it. And from now on, you can catch the mistakes and you can tell, okay, this would be the right sentence. So don't do the argument. If they are positive, tell them, my friend, I'm not sure whether you know or not. You're making mistakes. So this sentence should be this. And from now on, please do so. Okay, next one, we're gonna practice with how. So the same way. So how do I practice? How do you practice? How do you practice? How do you practice? How do they practice? How does he practice? How does she practice? How does it practice? How does Tony practice? So again, I'm gonna unmute yourself. Please unmute yourself and give me all the sentences using how. So yeah, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's start. How do I?
Does he speak? How does it speak? How does he practice?
How does Tony practice?
She speak? How does Tony speak? How does it speak?
Thank
How
you.
do I
So
practice? How do you practice?
I need a volunteer. I need a volunteer. So Parvin, can you please unmute yourself and give me all the sentences using how?
Yes, sir. How do I practice? How do you practice? How do you practice? How do you practice? How do you practice? How does she practice? How does Tony practice? How does she practice? How does she practice?
Okay, thank you. Your volume, I think, is a bit down. However, I need another one. So Ibrahim Hussain, can you please unmute yourself and give me all the sentences using how?
Yes, sir. How do I practice? How do we practice? How do you practice? How do you practice? How do they practice? How does he practice? How does she practice? How does it practice? How does Tony practice?
Excellent. Can you please type in the chat box? Thanks, Ibrahim. Thanks, Parvin. Okay, so Mamunuddin, can you please unmute yourself and give me all the sentences using how?
How do I practice? How do we practice? How do you practice? How do you practice? How do they practice? How does she practice? How does she practice? How does it practice? How does Tony practice?
Thank you. Thank you. Please type in the chat box. Thanks. And please mute yourself. Ryan, can you please unmute yourself?
Yeah, sure, please.
Okay.
How do I practice? How do you? How do we practice? How do you practice? How do you practice? How do they practice? How does she practice? He practice? How does she practice? How does it practice? How does Tony practice? Thank you.
Correct. Can you please try one more time, and this time try to give me all the sentences using one breath?
Okay. How do I practice? How do we practice? How do you practice? How do you practice? How do they practice? How does she practice? How does she practice? How does it practice? How does Tony practice?
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. Can you please type in the
Thank
chat box? Thanks, Ryan. So, Engineer MD Abdul Rahman, can you please unmute yourself and give me all the sentences using one breath? Engineer, you need to unmute yourself. Okay, Imad, can you please unmute yourself and give me all the sentences using how?
How do I practice? How do you practice? How do you practice? How do you practice? How do they practice? How do he practice?
Who does?
How does he, does how does he practice? How does he practice? How does he practice?
How does Tony practice? Okay, Matt. Give another try. Give me all the sentences using one breath, right? এক নিঃশ্বাসে সবগুলো বলেন তো।
Please, I don't understand. Please.
Can you please give me all the sentences using one breath, right? Give another try.
How do I practice? How do you practice? How do you practice? How do you practice? How do he practice? How do he practice? How does he practice? Does she practice? Does it he practice?
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Thanks a lot. So now we're gonna practice with where, right? So from now on, we are not saying where, we're gonna say where, right? So where do I practice? Where do you practice? Where do you practice? Where do you practice? Where do they practice? Where does he practice? Where does she practice? Where does it practice? Where does Tony practice? So using where, we're gonna make all the sentences. So please unmute yourself. 3, 2, 1, go. Let's start.
Where do I practice? Where do you practice?
Where do I practice? Where we where you
practice? Where does
practice?
practice? Where
Where
does she
does
practice?
he practice? Where does she practice?
Where do I practice? Where do you
Does Tony
practice? Where
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot. So Cyrene Rahman, can you please unmute yourself and give me all the sentences using where?
Where do I practice? Where do we practice? Where do you practice? Where do you practice? Where do they practice? Where does he practice? Where does she practice? Where does it practice? Where does Tony practice?
Okay, can you please type in the chat box? Thanks, Shireen. Next, so Raizul Islam, can you please unmute yourself and give me all the sentences using where? Raizul Islam, please unmute yourself. Raizul, can you hear us? Okay, not available. Masoom, can you please unmute yourself? Masoom Rama.
Where do I practice? Where do I practice? Where do you practice? Where do you practice? Where they practice? Where does he practice? Where does she practice? Where does it practice? Where does Tony practice?
Excellent. Can you please type in the chat box? Thanks. And now I need another volunteer. So MD Noyan Mia, can you please unmute yourself and give me all the sentences? MD Noyan Mia, please unmute yourself.
Sir, where do I practice? Where do we practice? Where do you practice? Where do you practice? Where do they practice? Where does he practice? Where does she practice? Where does it practice? Where does Tony practice?
Okay, thank you. So from now on, we're gonna say where, right? Where. Okay, next one. So we're gonna start with when, not when. So when do I practice? When do you practice? When do you practice? When do you practice? When do they practice? When does he practice? When does she practice? When does it practice? When does Tony practice? So now we're gonna practice all together using when. Please unmute yourself. 3, 2, 1, go. Let's start.
When do I practice? When do you practice? When does he practice? When does she practice? When does he practice? When does Tony practice?
practice, when does is practice, when does Tony practice?
Thank you. So I need a volunteer. So Zabedul Hassan, can you please unmute yourself?
Yes, sir. Can I start, sir? When do I practice? When do we practice? When do you practice? When do they practice? When do they practice? When does he practice? When does it practice? When does it practice? When does Tony practice?
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. Can you please type in the chat box? Thanks, Zabedul Hassan. So I need another volunteer. So Saiful Islam, can you please unmute yourself? Saiful Islam. Okay, not available. So Maqsudur Rahman, can you please unmute yourself? Not available. Okay. So Shubho, can you please unmute yourself? Okay, not available. I need another volunteer because I'd like to make sure. Okay, so I'm not sure what's your name is. Say Realme C11. Can you please unmute yourself and tell your name first? Okay, so anyway, I think there are some issues. So I'm gonna unmute everyone else. So please practice with me with when. This is the last time. So please unmute yourself. 3, 2, 1, go. This is done.
When do I practice? When do I practice? When do we practice? When do you practice? When do you practice? When do they practice? When does he practice? When does he practice?
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. So next one is how long? It's the same thing. How long do I practice? How long do you practice? How long do you practice? How long do you practice? How long do they practice? How long does he practice? How long does she practice? How long does it practice? How long does Tony practice, right? So please unmute yourself and start with how long. Unmute yourself. 3, 2, 1, go. Let's start.
How long do you practice? How long do you practice? How long do I practice? How long do we practice? How long do you practice? How long do you practice? How long do practice? How long?
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. So the last one is which, right? So after which you put a noun. Which এর পরে সবসময় একটা noun বসে, right? So let's say which language. Which language do I practice? Which language do you practice? Which language do you practice? Which language do you practice? Which language do they practice? Which language does he practice? Which language does she practice? Which language does it practice? Which language does Tony practice, right? So you're gonna practice which language. Please unmute yourself. 3, 2, 1, go. Let's start.
Which language do I practice? Which language do
Practice which language? Practice which language? Do you practice which language? Do you practice which language? Practice which language? Practice which language? Does he practice which language?
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. So I need just 2 volunteer. Just 2. I need just 2 volunteer. So Imad, can you please unmute yourself and give me all the sentences using which language?
How long? Which language?
Which language? Which language?
Which language do I practice? Which language you practice? Which language do you practice? Which language do you practice? Which language does he practice? Which language does he practice? Which language does she practice? Which language does she practice? Which language Tony practice? Do Tony practice?
Excellent. Excellent.
Which language do Tony practice?
Okay, thank you. Please mute yourself. So Tanim, can you please unmute yourself and give me all the sentences?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Which language do I practice? Which language do you practice? Which language do you practice? Which language do you practice? Which language do they practice? Which language does he practice? Which language does she practice? Which language does it practice? Which language does Tony practice?
Excellent. Thank you. Can you please type in the chat box? Thanks, Tanim. So Afia, can you please unmute yourself and give me all the sentences using which?
Yes, sir. Which do I practice? Which do we practice? Which do you practice? Which do you practice?
Stop. Stop. Which language? Which language? Start from the beginning. Which language do I practice?
Which language do I practice? Which language do you practice? Which language do we practice? Which language do you practice? Which language do they practice? Which language does he practice? Which language does she practice? Which language does Tony practice? Which language does it practice?
Thank you. Thanks a lot. So now I'm going to take a quiz. I'm going to ask you a question and you need to answer in the chat box, right? The first question is, do you practice? Please type in the chat box. Do you practice? Answer me, please. Do you practice? Do you practice? Type in the chat box, do you practice? Answer should be yes, I do. Yes, I do. Okay, next question I'm going to ask you. Next question I'm going to ask you, why do you practice? Type in the chat box. Why do you practice? Why do you practice? Why do you practice? I practice because da 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 da, right? Because I want to improve English, because I want to study abroad, because I want to achieve whatever I want to achieve, because I want to study in the UK, because I want to earn 117 times, right? Whatever the reason, type in the chat box. Why do you practice? Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for responding. Thanks for responding. So now the next question I'm going to ask you, how do you practice? How do you practice? Type in the chat box. How do you practice? Okay, so I practice by chorus. Chorus means ekshate shobai mile bola. I practice with my friends. I practice with my teacher. Whatever the answer, type in the chat box. How do you practice? I practice with my classmates. Excellent answer. So T-I-S-E. So if you would like to use practice as a verb, it should be T-I-S-E. I practice with myself. Okay, excellent. Excellent. Thank you. Thanks for responding. So next question is, where do you practice? Where do you practice? Where? So give a place. Give a name of the place. Where do you practice? I practice at Hassel-Free Education. I practice online. I practice. Where do you practice? Where do you practice? Where? I practice at Hassel-Free Education. I practice at I practice with my, okay, in my house. Okay, next question is, when do you practice? Give me a time. When? When do you practice? When do you practice? When do you practice? When do you practice? Give me a time. So in UK time is I practice at 8 a.m. or I practice at 2 p.m. Bangladeshi time. Okay, type in the chat box. When do you practice? Next one is, how long do you practice? How long? Give me the duration. Is it 60 minutes? Is it 90 minutes? Is it 2 hours? How long? How long do you practice for? How long do you practice for? Give me the full sentence. Don't play shortcut, right? Play full. How long do you practice? I practice for 2 hours. I practice for 3 hours, whatever the duration you are practicing. Okay. Next question is, which language do you practice? Which language do you practice? Please type in the chat box. Which language do you practice? Which language do you practice? Type in the chat box. Which language do you practice? Which language do you practice? I practice English. Okay, excellent. Thank you. Thank you. That means you understood, right? So this is how you need to ask question, and this is how you need to answer it. Now, this is your turn. You're going to ask me a question, right? So now the first question would be, do you, okay, teach English? So what would be the first question? Using teach English, ask me a question in the chat box. Ask me a question in the chat box. Teach English. The first question would be, do you teach English? Type in the chat box. Do you teach English? Question mark. Okay, type the question in the chat box. Do you teach English? Yeah, do you teach English? Excellent, 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 excellent. So I'm gonna answer you. Yes, I teach English. Or yes, I do. Yes, I do, right? So ask me the next question. Why? Using why, ask me the next question. Using why, ask me the next question. Okay, thank you. Yes, I do. That's the answer. So Javedul Hassan, why you teach English is a wrong sentence because you missed the sequence. Yeah, why do you teach English? Excellent, excellent. Why? Okay, Habibur Rahman, you missed the subject, right? Why do you teach English? Yeah, so I'd like to see everyone else's question. Why do you? It's very simple. Why do you teach English? Why do you teach English, right? Why do you teach English? I teach English because I want to help millions of students to speak English fluently. That's my answer, right? And now the next question is how? How? Ask me a question using how. How do, type in the chat box. I'd like to see. I don't like to give you the answer. Using how, ask me a question. How? How? So no shortcut. How do you teach English? Yeah. I'd like to see everyone else's question. How do you teach English? How do you teach English? Okay, excellent. Thank you. Thank you. How do you teach English? So I teach English online. I teach English online. So next question, using where? Ask me the next question. Where? Where do, yeah. Using where? Ask me the next question, please. Using where? Ask me the next question, please. Okay, so where do you teach English? Yeah, that's right. Where do you teach English? I teach English at Hassle-Free Education. I teach English at Hassle-Free Education. Next question, when? So using when, ask me the next question, please. When? When? Very quickly, faster, right? You got to type speed. Okay. When do you teach English? Excellent. Thank you. Thanks for asking. Yeah. I'd like to see everyone's question. When do you teach English? When do you teach English? When do you teach English? Okay. So I teach English at 8 a.m. UK time. I teach English at 8 a.m. UK time. Ask me the next question. How long? How long? How long? Yeah. How long? How long do you teach English? Excellent. Excellent. How long? How long? Excellent. How long do you teach English? How long do you teach English? Okay. So I teach English for 90 minutes. I teach English for 90 minutes. Next question. Which language do you, which language? Ask me the next question, please. Which language do you teach? Excellent. Which language do you teach? Which language do you teach? Okay. I teach English language. Thank you. Thank you. So now I believe that you are damn clear regarding this structure. And if you'd like to make tons of questions to someone else, you can make it using this structure. So we have practiced a lot the question. We have practiced a lot in answers. So I think you haven't got any sort of doubt regarding this structure. So are you clear? I'd like to see how many of you are really clear regarding this structure, because this is very vital in English language. So can you remember? Language means asking and answering. So if you know how to ask a question, that means you know how to answer as well. So please type in the chat box clear. I'd like to see how many of you are really, really clear, right? So please type in the chat box clear. Really, really clear. Please type in the chat box. Okay, now Now, what I'm gonna do, I will now I'd like to, okay, so now I'd like to, okay, give me the question. So the topic is, he said double S. No, come on. Hassle-free education. So if you are the IELTS student, if you'd like to sit for IELTS exam, now I'm teaching you how to answer the topic, right? So if you know how to make a topic, then it's gonna be easier to go for the answer. So now the first question. So the first question is, আপনি কি hassle free education সম্পর্কে জানেন বা চিনেন? What should be the question? Please type in the chat box. Do you, yeah, type in the chat box. Do you, no, give me the question, not answer. How are you gonna ask the question? Do you know about hassle free education? Something like this, right? Okay, so the first question is, do you know about hassle-free education? Right, so that's the first question. Do you know about hassle-free education? Now, do you know about hassle-free education? That's the first question, right? Second question is, using what? Using what? Ask me the question. Using what? Give me a question. Using what? So what do you know about hassle-free education, right? Please type in the chat box. What do you know about hassle-free education, right? So what do you know about hassle-free education? That's the second question. So please type in the chat box. Everyone else, I'd like to see your question. So now we are learning how to make questions. So what do you know about hassle-free education? The third question is, using how? What would be the question? How? Please make the full interrogative sentence using how. Yeah, quickly. Using how. So how do you know about hassle-free education? Excellent, excellent. So how do you know about hassle-free education? Yeah, type in the chat box, please. How do you know about hassle-free education? How do you know about hassle-free education, right? So now, next question I'm going to ask you. Next question I'm going to ask you is, what kind of benefit? Make the full sentence. What kind of benefit? What kind of benefit, or what sort of benefit? What kind of benefit? Yeah, make the full sentence. What kind of benefits? Or what sorts of benefit? Okay, next question is, what kind of? Please type in the chat box. What kind of benefit? So what sort of benefit you get from hassle-free education? Excellent, Tanim. So we can ask this question. What kind of benefit? Okay, so what kind of benefit do you have from hassle-free education? Okay, so what kind of benefit can you have from hassle-free education, right? So number 5 now, ask a question using recommendation. So can you please ask a question? So for example, you want to ask apni ki taderke recommend korben, so what should be the integrative sentence? Please type in the chat box. Type in the chat box. So how we're gonna ask? Either you recommend them or not. So do you recommend hassle-free education, right? Do you recommend? Yeah, that's right, Ibrahim. You can ask that way as well. Or do you recommend them? Do you recommend hassle-free education? Now, using why, ask another question. Using why, ask another question. Why? So question number 5. Yeah, that's right. So next question is, why do you recommend them? Why do you recommend them? Why do you recommend them? Okay, so these are the questions we can ask, right? So now in IELTS, I mean, if you are taking preparation for topic, so all you got to do is you need to practice like this way. You got to have a topic and you're going to ask the questions to the topic. For example, the topic is hassle-free education. Now I'm asking the questions. So do you know about hassle-free education? What do you know about hassle-free education? How do you know about hassle-free education? What kind of benefit do you get from hassle-free education? Do you get from hassle-free education? It sounds good. Okay, so do you recommend hassle-free education, and why do you recommend hassle-free education? Right, so this is how I need to ask question, and once you know how to ask question, you know definitely how to answer them as well. So first question I'm gonna asking you, give me the answer. Do you know about hassle-free education? Please type in the chat box. Do you know about hassle-free education? Give me the answer, please. Do you know about hassle-free education? Answer should be yes, I do. Answer should be yes, I do, right? So what do you know about hassle-free education? Type in the chat box. I'd like to see. So the first one is, okay, I know about a lot of things about hassle-free education. They provide 7 days speaking challenge for free, right? So they help students with IELTS preparation course as well, and they also assist students to process their file and get into the UK, US, and Canadian university. And also they pick up from the airport and they drop to the destination, right? So you know a lot of things about hassle-free education. So, or you can say, I know a lot of things about education, or I know 3 things about hassle-free education. Number 1, or first of all, second, and third, right? This is how I can answer, right? So here, try to speak more. In IELTS speaking, all you got to do is you need to speak more. You need to speak more. So if you just give shortcut answer, you will not get a better band in IELTS exam. So try to speak more, but that has to be relevant as well, right? So what do you know about hassle-free education? So what should be the answer? Please type in the chat box. What do you know about hassle-free education? Number 2. What do you know? What do you know about hassle-free education? So you can say, I know a lot of things about hassle-free education, first of all, secondly, thirdly, right? So you can give 3 things. What do you know about hassle-free education? For example, if you ask me the same question, I would say, I know a lot of things about hassle-free education. It's a UK based organization, and they have got lots of offices in around the world. For example, Birmingham, London, Manchester, Dhaka, Sylhet, India, and Pakistan. And they are providing 7 days speaking challenge for completely free. And also they assist with IELTS preparation course, and Steve runs that course. And also they help students to get into the university, process their application, and also they pick up from the airport and they drop to the destination. Okay, so you can say a lot of things about hassle-free education. Now, I'd like to say, at least find out 3 things what you would like to say. 3 things, right? So number 3, how do you know about hassle-free education? Please type in the chat box. How do you know about hassle-free education? How do you know? Type in the chat box. How do you know about hassle-free education? How? How do you know about hassle-free education? So, yeah, Tanim said through social media. So you should explain it, because in IELTS speaking, you got to speak a lot, right? So Tanim, you can say, well, I know hassle-free education through social media. One day I was surfing on Facebook, and someone named Moshur or Difi or Nafiza approached to me, and she was asking either I'm interested to get into the 7 days speaking challenge, where I can, learn a lot of things about the basic in English, and I can build my foundation. And I said yes, and I jumped into the course, and this is how I found it, right? Try to speak more. Try to speak more. So how do you know about hassle-free education, right? So next question is, so try to speak more. That's our ultimate thing. Try to speak more, right? So next question is, what kind of benefit do you get from hassle-free education? What kind of benefits? So you can say there are lots of benefits I can get from hassle-free education. Number 1, number 2, number 3, right? So you can say, well, hassle-free education can help me many ways. Number 1, I am having a course, 7 days speaking challenge. Is outstanding, and also once I finish that, I'll try my best to get into the IELTS preparation course as well with Steve. And I definitely believe that if I do the course with Steve, I'll get 7 in IELTS exam. And after that, I'll come back to hassle-free education, and they're going to help me to choose the right course and university. And once I give them all the documents, they will process my file. And once I get the visa, hassle-free education from London, Manchester, or Birmingham team will come to the airport to pick me up, to drop to this destination. This is how I can get a lot of benefits from hassle-free education. Did you get me? So if you really get me, please type in the chat box, understood. I'd like to see how many of you really got me what I just said. Please type in the chat box, understood. Okay, excellent. Okay, thank you. Thank you. So next question is, do you recommend hassle-free education? Do you recommend hassle-free education? Please type in the chat box. What should be your answer? Answer should be, yes, I do, right? Type in the chat box. Do you recommend hassle-free education? Do you recommend hassle-free education? Answer should be, yes, I do. Okay, the next question is, why do you recommend them? Why? Give me 3 reasons. I recommend hassle-free education for 3 reasons. First of all, moreover, furthermore, right? So give me 3 reasons. Why do you recommend hassle-free education? Why do you recommend hassle-free education? Give me 3 reasons, right? So the answer should be, definitely I recommend hassle-free education for 3 reasons or 5 reasons. First of all, moreover, furthermore, and also, then you can stack your answer. So this is how, if you answer it, and if you solve this problem like topic, you'll get a better score in IELTS exam, right? So, next few classes will help you to stack your answer, how you're going to answer it, so that you can have a good band in IELTS exam. So that would be my mission, to help a lot of students here right now, so that they can get a better preparation in IELTS exam. So please type in the chat box, why do you recommend them? Give me 3 reasons. Why do you recommend them? Why do you recommend hassle-free education? Type in the chat box, please, quickly. Type in the chat box. Why do you recommend hassle-free education? I'd like to see your answer. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to answer it. Why do you recommend hassle-free education? Why do you recommend hassle-free education? Yeah, very quickly answer me in 30 seconds. Give me 3 reasons why do you recommend them. Very quickly. Why do you recommend them? Why do you recommend them? Please type in the chat box 3 reasons. Okay, Shubha said, yes, I do. His hassle-free education is a life changer because they look trusted. They are teaching thousands of students for free. Okay, Tanim said is excellent consultancy firm helping students and creating fantastic events for students. Okay, anybody else? Please type in the chat box. Why do you recommend them? Okay, Pravin said hassle-free education platform is excellent. They provide well teaching. Okay. Quality of teaching, you can say. Ibrahim said, first of all, they are good at visa processing and they have the biggest platform for helping students globally. Also, they help the students to improve their English skills. Excellent, excellent, thank you. Okay. Okay, just I'm waiting for your answer. Please type in the chat box. Why do you recommend hassle-free education? Okay, excellent, excellent. Thanks for your answer. So now, this is the topic, and this is your homework, right? I know you are taking IELTS preparation, so you got to practice the topic, right? So this topic, you need to speak at least in the exam, in the IELTS test, you need to speak at least 2.5 minutes, right? So, but we're gonna practice SAS way so that we can talk at least 3 to 5 minutes. And if you know how to speak or how to talk at least 3 to 5 minutes in the test, 2.5 minutes will be easier for you, right? So this is how we're going to practice. Today's topic is hassle-free education. And now I'd like to share it to you if I know about hassle-free education or not. Definitely I know about hassle-free education. I know a lot of things about hassle-free education. They provide different courses, and I'm doing right now, it's called 7 Days Speaking Challenge. And it's an outstanding course. I'm learning so many things, and it's for 90 minutes. Also, they are providing IELTS preparation course as well, and they have got native English speaker, IELTS instructor. So I believe that, I mean, if I get into the course, I will achieve my desired score in IELTS exam. Also, they serve students with their application, especially the visa processing A to Z, and they do not charge even a single penny for that, right? So I know the hassle-free education through social media, especially on Facebook. So one of the hassle-free education team member approached to me, and they invited me to the 7 Days Speaking Challenge. And also, I was also confirmed that this is completely free. I don't have to pay even a single penny for this. And I jumped into the course and I'm enjoying it, right? So, and next thing I'd like to share with you is I can get a lot of things from hassle-free education. For example, now I'm having a course for 7 Days Speaking Challenge. Basically, I'm developing my foundation in English. And after that, my intention is to get into the IELTS preparation course with Steve, so that I can get my desired score. And finally, once I get my desired score, then I can get assistance from hassle-free education to make my application, get the visa, and get to my home with their assistance. And definitely, I recommend hassle-free education. And I would say there are 3 reasons I must recommend hassle-free education. First of all, if you are struggling with the English language, especially if you'd like to develop your foundation, I must recommend the 7 Days Speaking Challenge. And secondly, if you haven't got your desired score yet, and if you haven't got the quality teachers, then I would recommend you their IELTS preparation course with this team. And finally, I would say the way they are working, they are serving the students is amazing. And a lot of students are getting visa and they're flying to the UK, US, and Canada. And these are the 3 reasons I must recommend them. Thanks for listening. Did you get me? So if you count down the time, probably I have spoken like 2 to 3 minutes or 5 minutes. I'm not sure how long is that. So the same way you need to practice. So this is your homework. All you got to do is you need to ask and answer first question. Do you know about hassle-free education? Yes, I do. What do you know about hassle-free education? Then answer it, right? And once you answer it 3-4 times, then give a presentation. Hi, my name is Habib, and today I'd like to share with you about the topic is hassle-free education. Then keep going, keep going, keep going. So now I'd like to see how many of you will be able to practice it at least 5 times and give a presentation and upload the video on the Facebook group. Type in the chat box, I will. I will. I'd like to see how many of you will be able to ask all the questions regarding the topic and give all the answer. Once you know the answer, then give a presentation. Hi, my name is Habib, and today I'd like to share with you a topic is all about hassle-free education, and keep going, keep going, keep going, right? So I'd like to see how many of you said I will, right? I'm gonna do the countdown right now. Okay, so Habib Rahman said I will, Parvin said I will, Tanim said I will, Jamshid Alam said I will, Ibrahim Hussain says, sorry, sir, I can't. I'm not sure why is not. Can you please explain, Shubho, why you can't? Rukul Meda said, I will. Okay. So you promised me, right? Don't break your promise. Don't break your promise. So I'm going to recommend you, please, can you please just take a screenshot? Just take a picture, right? So this is your homework. I'd like to see the homework in the group. And also I'd like to see you in the next class. Don't go. So in the next class, what we're gonna share with you is all about the processing of student visa. That's the thing I'd like to share with you tomorrow. So once you do that class, you'll be able to understand what the qualifications do you need, how much money do you need, what's the English skill do you need, and when should you make your application, all of this, right? From A to Z. And at the end of the class, you got to give a presentation. And the presentation is why you'd like to, why you'd like to learn English and which country you'd like to go, what sort of requirements do you need to fill, and where are you right now, and how you're gonna get all that preparation, and how you're gonna achieve that and fly to your destination, right? So that's gonna be tomorrow's class. So please don't miss the next class. It's gonna be awesome. You're gonna get all the information, because can you remember I said first thing is learning, then is apply, then the achievement. So next class you're gonna learn A to Z. What do you need to do to fly to your destination country? For example, if you like to study in the UK, so what sort of things you need to know about the UK? If you'd like to go to Canada, what sort of things you need to know about Canada? If you'd like to go to USA, what sort of things you need to go to UK? So you're going to learn so much things, right? And then you're going to apply it, and then you're going to achieve, you're going to fly to that country. So don't miss the next class. That's going to be outstanding. You're going to get all the information. Make sure you are coming with loads of energy, and you're going to enjoy a lot, right? So having said that, I'd like to finish here because I got to run. It's already it's 9:51. Okay, got it. Thank you. Thanks for joining today. So make sure you submit your homework. Thank you, everyone.